Hello, my name is Ryan Oates. I'm a volunteer with Solidarity Lowell, and today I want to speak with you about an important public hearing in the City Council that's coming up on November 12th. The City of Lowell is having a public hearing about an ordinance that will civilly criminalize homelessness. So let's talk about the implications for this ordinance for the people experiencing homelessness, as well as what we can ask our city councilors to do instead. Let's start with what this ordinance would do. First off, it would make it unlawful for any person to camp in or on any public property. Next, it says that no person may sleep on public sidewalks, streets, or alleyways at any time as a matter of individual and public safety. I want to question that last part. The ordinance attempts to frame itself as a way to protect the unhoused individual. While that might be the intent, kind of doubt it, but it might be, I think the impact here is that this ordinance will further hurt the very people it aims to help. And the reason I think that is that it says that it will be enforcing this no camping policy with penalties outlined under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 21. I took a look at this section, and it says that towns can fine people up to $300 for each offense. So if someone's sleeping on the sidewalk, they could be fined. The ordinance also cites Chapter 272, Section 59, which says that whoever remains in a street or elsewhere in a town in willful violation of an ordinance may be arrested without a warrant by an officer and kept in custody until he can be taken before a court. So people can be fined or they can be arrested. Which leads to the question, what are we really doing here? Are we trying to help people get services, or are we further punishing people who are already in a dire situation? To underscore this point, I want you to listen to Eric Gitchia as he speaks about this ordinance and where he's coming from in advocating for it.
I've been getting calls on Dutton Street. The tents are coming into the properties over there, the Dunkin' Donuts down there. You have all the things, there's needles in the parking lot. There's issues down there, and we're trying to combat that at the same time. So does this board come up with no tents in the city like that just passed? Businesses are already complaining about people in tents and all the things coming. If you go to Dutton Street, buy that Dunkin' Donuts, you'll see. It's in there, and all the property owners and the business owners are complaining right now. And I could tell you right now, if tomorrow morning any one of these councilors put in, remove the tents from public property, it would be supported by the residents. They're tired. They're tired of trying to go in places and being approached. There's a lot of things that they're tired of. We've been there for the homeless. When you talk about creating a safe environment, what about the business owners? Do they have a right to live in a good environment? What about the kids going to schools? Do they have the right to live in a good environment? What about the visitors that come off the highway and have to deal with this every single day? At some point, we have to put our foot down. And Mr. Manager, I am asking you for this. I am asking you to make the toughest ordinance that this city can put forward and start to curb this and start to push back.
Now, it may just be me, but that is not the tone of someone who is coming to this issue out of a concern for the well-being of the unhoused. In my interpretation, it sounds like he's trying to get the unhoused out of the way so that the people who matter,
businesses, all the property owners and the business owners. What about the business owners?
The business owners, the property owners can go about their lives. I see this ordinance as a natural extension of the Supreme Court's recent decision that punishing people for camping is somehow not cruel and unusual punishment, and that's exactly what I think this is, cruel and unusual punishment for people who need help. So, to turn the page, if we really want to solve homelessness, we can look at some evidence-based solutions. I think we can say to our city councilors that a much better use of our money would be to work toward both homelessness prevention and evidence-based solutions for people who are chronically unhoused. For example, the city of Lowell could double down on some of its evidence-based practices like permanent supportive housing. And I want to celebrate this. In 2024, the city put $2 million in federal ARPA funds to help community teamwork build a permanent supportive housing project that has 19 new units. That means that at least 19 people were able to get a safe place to call home, and While living there, they have access to mental health and addiction-related services. Permanent supportive housing is not just humane, but it's also more cost-effective. A report from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development found that Charlotte, North Carolina's Housing First model reduced high-cost service uses, including fewer nights spent in shelter, fewer arrests and incarceration events, and fewer health and emergency department visits. An organization in Massachusetts, Massachusetts Housing and Shelter Alliance, found some similar results.
How can anyone manage or maintain their illness while they're living on the streets or warehoused in a shelter? They can't. Here in Massachusetts, for the last 30 years, we've had an emergency response to the issue of homelessness. And the only thing that really generated was more homelessness. Chronic homeless individuals are particularly in a difficult situation regarding managing what are oftentimes very serious health conditions. And what Home and Healthy for Good did was take a different approach that we call low threshold, where the primary focus was on the housing. We believed that in a housing situation, they would be much better able to manage those various conditions. What we've seen over the years is that the quality of life of these individuals can improve dramatically. Their utilization of emergency care systems, their ambulance rides, their emergency room, but more importantly, even their acute long care stays reduced dramatically. I mean, 10 years ago, people were telling us you can't even house this population. People are beginning to recognize and understand the importance of housing as a social determinant of health. Home and Healthy for Good is, I hope, part of a national movement that recognizes that and understands that it's time to create more permanent supportive housing.
This is no surprise. When people have a safe place to live, when they have access to services, everyone's better off. Obviously, the city can't pay for these services all on its own, so I think instead of this ordinance, we should call on our city councilors to advocate at the state and federal levels for more homelessness prevention programs, as well as funding for permanent supportive housing. If you'd like to speak out against this ordinance, you can sign up to speak at the November 12th hearing by emailing mgeary@lowellma.gov. If you'd like further information, you can reach out to LLAMA or Lifting Lowelians Assistance and Mutual Aid by calling 978-222-7877 or contact Solidarity Lowell by going to solidaritylowell.com, open the contact page, and fill out the form to send an email. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you around.